In this video, we're going to continue to talk about the basics of Maya, and we're going to start with something real simple, which is the difference between what a scene file is and what a project is. And we're going to see how we can use this little window here to manage and organize our project or our files. So we're going to start with something simple as usual, and then we're going to move on to more complex things, and we're going to see how we can create a project using external assets, and again how to organize everything a little bit. So let's get started here. I will start by saving a new scene, so something really simple, and you can save as or save, and you're gonna save a new file. Now when you save a new file, all you need to do here is to navigate into the folder where you want to save it, and then you go there and you insert the name of the file that you want to save. And you can also create new folders. You can go back and forward to the parent directory, so up and down. You can get outside and inside again. Now each time you will then save a new version of this lesson, you always need to go and navigate until you can click there, drag and drop the folder of your project, of your this course, for example, into that folder bookmarks. So this is gonna save a lot of time, because each time I don't need to navigate from the default folder to that particular customized folder. I just need to open up that folder from the bookmarks. So this is one initial settings that I think it's pretty useful, and it's going to save you a lot of time. And so you can go there, file, and go to open the scene also if you want to open that exact scene, or you can also incremental save, which is going to save more than one version of the file, and you can also use the save project. So we saw how we can save a single file, Maya file. A project is a little bit different. Now you can see that the current project is at the default, and we have a default location. So if I say new, I can create a new project and I can set up a new location. So why is this different from saving a new file? So what's the difference between saving a single file or saving a project? Now let me just change the directory here. You can see that I can use my stored folder in the bookmarks and select that exact folder. And so you can save here right away, or you can select, and or you can create a new subfolder in there to store your project. Okay, now you can see that it's gonna save all those subfolders there, so it's better to create a new folder and, well, give the name of the project there, just to be a little bit more organized and we can manage everything better. So I will create a folder for my project, and in that folder I'm gonna save the project. So this is what I'm gonna do, and just giving any name that you want. So that's gonna be my folder, that's gonna be the name of my project, and all those there are gonna be my subfolders in the primary project location. Now this means that I will create a set of folders, and, well, actually it's gonna be automatically created for me by Maya, and it's gonna store there the templates or the scenes. I can save my scenes in my scene folder. So, well, the first difference is that a project is a container, while the scene is the object that will be contained inside a project. So it's basically a manager for you to organize everything a little bit better, especially for the images or external references. Well, those are always need to be together with your scenes files inside your project folder. Otherwise, they will be missing. So for example, if you need to copy and paste your project, well, actually your scene, into another computer, or you want to send it to a friend or a colleague, you always need to attach the external references like images and things like that. Otherwise, when it's going to open up the scene in another computer, it's only going to have the scene, which is going to contain the 3D models and lights and things like that, but nothing which is going to be external, like images. So for example, if you have materials with textures, those are not going to be visible unless you store everything in a project folder. So you can do that manually, or you can create a new project like this and it's going to be automatic. So when you go to File, you can save and you can create new scenes, or you can save and create new projects. And this is basically the difference. Just to show you that also, if you proceed not with the project, but by creating a simple scene, just remember to create an extra folder for your assets. So you can see here, this is the directory where I have created my customized folder and project. And inside here, I have a folder called edits. Well, I'm actually, you can see there in the scenes. So this is where I will save and organize all the scenes concerning this particular project. Now, if I click on my customized folder there, Maya 2022, I can then change the current project from default to the one that I've created, and it's going to bring me there. It's going to bring me directly into that folder, and inside I will find all subfolders and the scenes. So this is where I would save my scenes basically. So let's save everything, and now I am working inside a project and not only inside a scene. So again, this is just to explain to you this difference and to make you understand that each time you're gonna import models, you need to save and organize also the other assets like textures for the materials and so on. Now this website here is called renderpeople.com, and you can get a lot of people from here, 3D people, and they're gonna come with the 3D model and the textures and the materials. And also, if you want, with the animation, you have also animated people or rigged people ready for animation. We're gonna see those later on in the course. But right now, just to show you here, you can use this website or any website to download. This is particularly okay because it's free for commercial use, and you don't need to register it. Just go here to free models on the website. I will leave also a link in the description, so you can get there and you can choose. You can see here when you click on download many different files for many different software. So if you have Cinema 4D, you will click on Cinema 4D. If you have Maya, you will click on Maya, and then you will save the zip file. So it's gonna come with a zip file that you need to extract, so you can store it anywhere you want in your computer, but then you will see that it's gonna be useful then to save the textures in your project folders. So I'm gonna open this when it's finished. So we just need to wait for the download to finish, and in the meanwhile we can check out the shop here, or the store, when you can find a lot of different models. You can find categories here and post people, rigged people. Again, these are ready for animation. They are in the A pose, which is ready to be animated, and also we have animated people, which are already animated, and also these 4D people, which I think it's kind of the latest technology or something like that. Okay, just to show you, this is one website, but you will find also more if you explore. And also you can check other video guides in our channel and showing you to use renderpeople.com, but also other websites. You can see here we have many different formats. So if you need to work on some particular project, you can buy them if you need to shorten the time of your to produce your work. Now another website, it's called Polyoven, and another one also is called Sketchfab. So you can just go there and explore them. You can find 3D models, you can find textures. If you use SketchUp, also they have a warehouse, digital warehouse, well, which is this one here, 3D warehouse, and there you will find really a lot of assets. So you can see that the internet or many websites are really full of many different 3D models that you can use to create your first scenes without actually getting already into the modeling. So I'm just gonna take one of these models here from renderpeople.com, and this is kind of the usual folder. So every time you're gonna download something from the web, usually you will find a folder called scenes and a folder for the images, and this is just for Maya. So if I select everything and copy everything in my folder of my customized project, this is kind of merging. So all the things that are stored in the scenes are gonna go in the scenes, and all the images are gonna go in the images, and all the other external stuff is gonna go there automatically. So you can do that, or you can do it just by copy and pasting one by one. Now you can see that I have a file here which is a Maya native. So this means that I can simply drag and drop the file inside Maya, and it's gonna show me the character right there. And there are the textures as well, because everything is perfectly linked to the correct folder. So I've copied both the 3D models and the textures, and you can see this is also animated. This is one of the animated character that you can download and use. And I will show you later also in the course, in the latest lessons, where you can actually manipulate the character. Otherwise it won't move or anything because it's already animated. Now you can also choose here to go to show and hide some of the, for example here, these yellow lines that will actually help you, but sometimes you can decide also to show only the polygons, so only the 3D object and not everything else. Okay, or the wireframe if you're interested in the structure, or in the shaded mode. Now be careful also to have the textures button on, and there we can see the structure, well, the hierarchy of this particular object, which is not only a 3D object, but you can see there it contains also the bones system, which is kind of a parent-child complex hierarchy, or like a pyramidal hierarchy of bones that is gonna let you animate the character. But again, I'm gonna show you that later because this is something more complex. But I just wanted to show you how it's easy to import models and textures with the material, and also be careful then if you need to copy and paste this project. You need to copy and paste not only the scene or the file, but also the folders where you have the textures. Now I'm gonna create also some primitives here, like a standard plane. Okay, and it's when you don't see something, it's either too big or too small. Now we're gonna talk also about the units setup and how we can measure things, because this is important to get everything together, especially if you import from different websites. You import and you create your own objects. You need to figure out what the size of the different objects are. Now, for example, one useful tip here is to go and select that object, and then go to frame. So that's gonna frame that object, or you can click the F key on your keyboard. So we can see that it's really small and it's inside the character's shoe. So it's really invisible right now. So I need to select it, and then we're gonna get back again to the move, scale, and rotate tool. Now be careful, because when you hide some of the stuff that's visible in the viewport, you could also hide those gizmos that instead are helpful for you. So be careful on what you hide and show. You can see there I've placed those back on so that we can see those gizmos from the show and hide menu of the viewport. So I'm gonna move this a little bit aside, and we can see that's definitely pretty small. Well, it's actually 1 centimeter, I think, because when we work with Maya, we start with the units and say 1, that's gonna be 1 centimeter. So this is 1 times 1 centimeter square. And well, we talk about moving objects. We saw how we can move them. And let's switch to 4 views here. So there you can move it on the epsilon axis, which represent the height in Maya. So you can constrain the movement on one particular axis, or 2 axes if you use the square between the 2 arrows. And so right now I want to move it in 2 axes. I will use that little square. It's gonna constrain this on X and Z, and so it's not gonna move in the green arrow, so in the height. So this is useful because in perspective, your perception could be not the one that it's actually real. So you may think that you are moving in the epsilon, but you're moving in the Z or the X. So it's pretty deceiving to work with the perspective. But when we use constraints, we can work a little bit more precise. So definitely use them. If you click in that middle square, that's gonna be a completely free transformation and not constrained. Now, in the same logic, we can use the rotate tool to rotate on the different axes, which are highlighted with the yellow color. And when they are not highlighted, they will always show up in X, epsilon, and Z colors, which is gonna be red, green, and blue. And also, if you click in the middle, you can rotate freely in any direction. But again, this is always something a little bit deceiving and is not precise at all. So these are the, let's say, transformations or transforming tools or manipulation tool. You can also go to edit here. You will find some more manipulation tool, and in the file we find the basic. So these are all basic commands, and the transformation are really basic commands. And the last one of the 3 main transformation, which is move, rotate, and scale, is the scale. Now in every, you can see here, you can scale on every direction or axis. Now you can scale in 1 dimension, so 1D scale. You can scale in 2 dimensions, or you can scale in 3 dimensions. Depends on what gizmo you're gonna pick. So if you select the colored cubes there, you're gonna scale in 1. If you select the plane or the little square, you're gonna scale in 2 dimensions. So this is what I want to actually do with my plane here. I want to make it bigger and to have a pavement for my character. So I don't need to scale on the epsilon axis, because in this case, a plane, it's a 2D object, it's not a 3D object. So I cannot scale it in 3 dimension actually, but I'm gonna show you how to do that later. And again, I can place this a little bit better. So together with the navigation shortcut keys, you can also use these 3 tools, which are pretty important. Now you can see here I've inserted a cube and I'm scaling this in 3 dimensions. So by clicking in exact middle, now I'm moving up only using the epsilon. I can move that back using the Z, and you can make now your experiments with the move, rotate, and scale, which are really basic. Now you can see this is 1 dimension scale, this is 2 dimension scale, so I'm gonna scale it using X and Z, not the epsilon. So 1D, 2D, and 3D scale. When you do a 3D scale using the middle bluish gizmo there, is gonna maintain the proportions basically. Otherwise, you're always going to distort, deform your object, making it longer or larger according to your needs. So you can then select other of these primitives and play around. For example, here I can use this one here. It's another cube. And let's go to the 4 views. Now, when you want to work a little bit more precise again, don't use just the perspective. Try to move into also the 2D views and use the wireframe, because it's gonna help you to figure out better your scene and hide anything that you don't need, so you don't get messy and confused. Try to manage your scene the best that you can. Also, you can give names. This is also gonna help you to find the different objects that you are creating. For example, here, if I want to create a seat or a chair or a table, I can click there and start to give names. So with this one here, I want to create kind of a seat for my chair. So I'm scaling it, and right now I'm not using units. I'm not measuring anything. I'm just doing everything using my high and my viewport. So I want to do everything in an approximate way. I want to be fast and not very precise. So, okay, now this could be the base of my chair actually. And if you want to work more precise, you also can use the snaps, but we're gonna talk about that later. I just want to show you that if you don't need to work precise, you can be very fast. So always understand if you need to be precise or not, because you're gonna save a lot of time by just going there and creating your scene approximately, but closer as you can to reality. Otherwise, again, you have snaps. Now, when you use snaps, it will be more precise, but the process is gonna take longer. And also you have parameters, not only snaps. So right here, I'm just gonna set this other part of my chair or my table or whatever. Now I will make sure that this is gonna be not too far from the base there. So that's my base, and I don't want to be too far. Otherwise, it's gonna create a gap, which is gonna be too big. Now I can change this to shaded if I want to see a little bit better than wireframe. Okay, you can see that the gap is probably too big. So never leave the gap to be too big. So just make a little movements to adjust that a little bit. So don't go too far. Don't go all the way and go through the object. You just have to be something there really close, and that's gonna be fine if you need to do just a rendering or anything that would not be like printed or used for a prototype. You don't need to be so precise. You just can create something real quick. Now, even if it goes through the base there and the pavement, well, it's actually not a big deal if that's gonna stay right there, because you're never going to go and create a render above the scene. You're always, sorry, below. You will always be above, so you don't care if that's gonna be right there passing through. But usually I never do that. I always try to make the best thing with the in the fastest way, so with the shortest amounts of time. So also there, you can leave a little gap between the base and the pavement. That's going to be actually more realistic than having the precise position for that. So sometimes leaving little gaps is going to be more realistic and, well, I think better than not having gaps at all, but not too much, of course. And this is probably the first technique that you're gonna learn. Then after you master this, which is pretty simple, so to work with your eye basing on what you see and using the move, rotate and scale gizmos that you will find in the interface. Now once you learn that, then you can move and create something more precise. Now let's see something also basic, which is Ctrl X or Ctrl C or Ctrl V. This is to create more object. So you can Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And you can also use the repeat command, which is going to repeat your latest command, which in my case is gonna be the cube. So this is again something real basic. Now you can see that I done Ctrl C, Ctrl V. It created a copy of the base that I want to use for the top part. So it created a group and inside a perfect copy of that original object. So I can name these, for example, ctri or something else. Well, just give different names, it's better. And I'm gonna scale it, but this time only in the epsilon axis. So this is a 1D scale to create the top part. Again, this could be a table or could be a chair. I'm just showing you how you can basically compose your objects here in Maya. And this is something really, really simple to get you started. And in the next videos, we're going to increase the level every time. So again, there's a little gap right there, but I don't care because I really need to be really, really close to see that gap. Now, again, nothing exaggerated like that. That's gonna show up. It's gonna show like something on the air, but no, we want to place that on top of the previous element, leaving just a little gap or going just a little bit inside. That's fine. That's quick. That's okay. It's appropriate, I think, if we just need to create something fast for the rendering. And now we can move everything up. Now, when you create something which has more than one part, you can create groups. So right now it just created a group for us when we copy and paste, but we can click and drag inside that group other objects. So we can use the outliner panel to, well, create a better group. For example, I can give a name here like group seat, and then I can click and drag different elements, different objects that I have in the scene inside that. Just clicking and dragging, you will create this connection or hierarchies or hierarchical structure of parent and child. So anything that's above is going to be a parent, anything that's inside or below that group object is going to be a child. So when I move the parent, which is going to be the group, everything moves with it. So everything that's inside there is going to move with that group or parent object. So we are learning additional things here. We are learning how to create groups. We are learning hierarchies, parent, child objects. We are learning how to start to manage and organize the scene a little bit better. You can see here I can create more complex structures and hierarchies. So a parent within a parent within a parent within a parent, or a child within a child within a child, to create more complex. So if you move the top one, it's going to move also the objects that are below in the hierarchical structure. If you move the children, so the objects that are below, you're not gonna move the parent. So this is kind again of a hierarchical structure, and you're gonna see that also when you do rigging and create, let's call them skeletons for the rigging. So when you create bones, they're gonna have a really complex hierarchical structure that you're gonna have to manage. But don't worry about that. We are just at the beginning. We are just on the basic tools like the movement tools, the transform tools, the copy and paste tools. Control X, Control V is gonna cut and paste it. Control C, Control V is gonna paste it. And again, it created another copy of that sheet or table or whatever it is. So once you created a group, you can copy that many times. You can create copies. You can also hold the shift key and move the object if you want to create a copy. You can use also Ctrl+D key on the keyboard. You will find those in the edit menu as well. So this is gonna be it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and leave your comments. And also you can join to support us more so that we can create more videos. See you in the next lesson.